Hello and welcome back to Can You Survive Tides of War? I am out here on the challenge field yet again, and we are moments away from beginning another challenge.
First things first, Meg, can I take back immunity? Okay, immunity is back up for grabs. Our merged tribe has been split by random draw into two groups of 5, and they already know that there are 2 immunity necklaces up for grabs. We're going to run this challenge twice and get 2 winners.
Ooh, that's exciting.
How this challenge is going to work is our first group is going to start bouncing on the bow. Rather than standing still, this is a race. They are going to race across the field to the finish line. The first 3 that make it across the finish line with the ball still on will move on to the next phase of the challenge. If they drop at any time, they will restart.
Okay.
Those
A
3
Survivor Classic challenge that they will be all facing off with.
Those 3 that complete that will then face off in a beanbag toss. The twist here is that we will be building a structure of blocks here. They are to throw the beanbag through the structure of blocks and have it land on the table. If at any time they knock over their structure, they will have to rebuild it before throwing more beanbags.
Wow.
First player to land all 3 beanbags will move, or first 2 players to land all 3 beanbags will move on to the puzzle, which is a circular puzzle.
Just being Vanna Whited by our very own Brandon Clark.
First player from each heat to solve the puzzle will win immunity.
All right, so you heard that right. If you are just joining us, these players are competing for 2 individual immunity necklaces, double the chances to secure safety at the next tribal council.
One final note. I believe you would like to know how tribal council will work.
Yes.
Okay, waiting for some confirmation. You will all strategize together as 10. You will all enter tribal council together as 10. However, we will have 2 separate votes within your groups of 5. One from each group is going to be eliminated. Any advantages or idols can be played cross group. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you'll strategize as an entire group, but you may only vote within your own group. Okay? All right. You know the stakes. Let's get the first group up here. We'll start with the orange tag people.
Good luck.
All right, so it looks like our first group is getting set out. And Cam, how did we arrive upon these groups?
Sure, it was a random draw, as we've been doing. So we did a random draw of 10. The first 5 entered our first heat, our first group. Second 5 were randomly left to be our second heat.
All right, so first heat, we've got Louie, Drew,
Yes.
Meg M with a question,
Does it matter?
Dylan,
Yep.
and
as long as it is on the
Cam.
wooden beam below. You can't touch any part of the actual bow structure. Is that clear?
All right, these 5 getting some last-minute clarifications before.
All right, we are going to start with you having your hand on the ball on top of the bow, so that it is in place. You can hold it until I say go. Okay.
Players now getting set, ready. Place these balls on these little
the ball has to stay on
tippy
the bow as you cross the line.
wooden structures. This is a
Survivor's
Survivor
ready.
Classic for any Survivor
Go.
fans out there. And away they go. Louie sprinting but drops. Meg drops. Cam and Drew moving on around, but they both drop. Dylan drops.
Everyone back in the starting line. Louie and Meg back on the course. Louie drops again. Meg drops again. It is a little bit of a learning curve here. Cam has a sort of balance.
Cam just misses it. Drew might be crossing and moving along.
Drew has moved on to the next side.
Here comes Louie, who will also be advancing.
Meg looking to make it 3, trying a one-handed approach.
Cam
Dylan
drops. Dylan in it. Could potentially get it here.
Dylan
and
does. Cam and Meg have been eliminated. We are going to have our second heat now do this section of the challenge.
All right, and stepping up to the challenge field are the 5 players that you did not just see compete. This is the second group that is vying for individual immunity. Each group has the chance to win a necklace. So this group consists of Kevin R,
with the ball.
Alicia,
You holding the ball on top.
Molly,
Kind of get ready.
Ale, and Ty. They are getting set and ready to get this challenge underway.
Survivors ready? No. Go!
All right, and away they go. Alicia drops immediately, and Ale, Ty, and Kevin are as well. Mala drops. All players are currently still at the starting line. Alicia, Ale, and Kevin are making their way. Ale sprinting for it, hoping he gets it. And he does. Alicia now making her way across. And now only one spot remains in the next heat for Ty, Kevin R, and Molly.
Getting close.
Ty could do it right here, and he does.
Kevin and Molly have been eliminated.
All right, and with that, Kevin R and Molly cannot advance along with Meg
We're
and
going to have our first 3 from the orange grouping.
All right, with part 1 of this challenge done, we are heading up to the main challenge field to get set and ready for part 2 of this 3-part individual immunity challenge.
Set up the first structure so you can see how it's set up. It's long piece, 2 short pieces, long piece, okay?
If it lands on the table and then slides off on the other side, that doesn't count, right?
All right,
it has
so
to
we
stay
are
on the table. If you knock off one, it does not count.
We are currently setting this structure. Our players Dylan, Drew, and Louie will have to throw all 3 beanbags onto the table. All 3 beanbags onto the table, but they will have to get them through this block structure. If their aim isn't true and they hit a block and it falls, they will have to reset it, I think.
Correct.
Before starting again. So, yikes, that is stressful.
Everyone grab your first beanbag. Survivors ready. Go.
All right, Dylan making it through, but not hitting the table. Drew getting it, and Louie knocks their structure over.
Dylan didn't knock the structure over, but wasn't able to hit the table.
Drew
misses
a little too far.
She's up 1-0.
Dylan
finding a rhythm,
firing it and knocks the structure over. Drew now the only one that hasn't knocked it until she did just then, but Drew has 2 beanbags to Louie and Dylan's 0. Here goes Louie taking a throw and immediately knocking down that block structure. And Drew gets it. She has the first of 2 spots in the final part of the challenge. Dylan, too strong.
Watch your feet, Dylan. Dylan
lands one. The score is now 1-0 for Dylan versus Louie.
Dylan knocks the top piece off. It's going to make it easy to reset.
Louie with a mighty heave to get that beanbag through the challenge. Knocks it over, but so did Dylan.
Knocking the structure over left and right.
Players having to rebuild their block structure.
All right, Dylan going for it again.
Dylan able to get their second.
And Dylan able to get their third. It'll be Dylan versus Drew facing off for the orange immunity. You can rest over here, Dylan and Drew. Maybe watch the fun.
Can we watch some watchers just to make sure they're not
No.
All right. Next up are Ale, Alicia, and Ty, who are grabbing their first bag.
Yeah, your bags can be in your hand. Great.
Reminder, this is the second group of players that is going for
any
a
that
second
land on the table after knocking over the structure do not count, okay? Quick reminder, survivors ready. Go.
And
Alicia able to land on the first throw.
Ale and Ty knocking structure. Alicia just like that.
Boy,
moving on.
Ty just short.
Ale
lands his second throw.
Ale
now on the second attempt lands one. Lands a second. Could finish it
Ty
here.
knocks it.
Figured it out on the second attempt. Ale and Alicia moving
All right, and for those just tuning in, we are in the middle of a 3-part individual immunity challenge. You just saw number 2 play out.
Go back to the tent so you cannot watch the puzzle.
Players are split up into 2 different groups to compete for one of 2 different individual immunity necklaces. So stepping up in the finals for the orange group are Dylan and Drew.
It is a full circle. You are making a full circle. Can I have a tribe handler watching Ale and Alicia to make sure they cannot
know
see?
what side the pieces go, or is there an range?
Why don't we bring him over there so they can't see the front of it?
Just have them turn the other direction. If we can have one person.
What? How do we know which side is how? I don't like you would say like the orientation of the pieces. Right.
There's an,
That's the puzzle.
that's part of the puzzle.
Thank you.
All right,
Alright,
we are
one
getting
of
set
Drew
and ready for this.
or Dylan will have immunity heading into their tribal council where only one of their 5 can be voted out. Survivors ready? Go! Both going to take some time to analyze the pieces before getting started.
Dylan and Drew facing off here in the last portion of this individual immunity challenge. One of them will be victorious and wear the immunity idol necklace around their
Drew
neck
has most of
at
hers
the next
flat
tribal
on the
council.
table. Trying to get a sense for them. Dylan starting to place. Meanwhile, the other 3 members of their group are already talking. Valuable time. Dylan making quick work. Looks like they have 3 pieces already on the board. Four pieces on the board. The other kind of factor here is it is a vertical puzzle. The semicircle can only hold so much. You need to make sure you're placing these pieces very carefully so that the structure does not fall over. It needs to be up for me to call immunity.
Dylan now grabbing all the remaining pieces behind his puzzle structure and now putting them in front.
We have 6 pieces on Dylan's board.
Dylan focused in on this puzzle. I'm not hearing him call the pieces wiggle, wiggle, and woo, woo like he did in a previous challenge.
That's how you can tell Dylan is locked in right now.
Drew being very methodical, perhaps trying to arrange the pieces on the table flat before placing them in her circle.
From my point of view, it's 8-0 right now. That doesn't mean that she's that far behind.
Drew now piecing many pieces together.
A lot of Dylan just toppled over. Hopefully those pieces didn't get mixed up.
A little bit.
Dylan lost a few in the shuffle there.
2 different strategies going on here in this challenge. Dylan is already building vertically the way the puzzle must be completed in order to win immunity. Drew electing to use the flat surface of the table to plan out her puzzle potentially before transferring it over to the circular vertical frame.
It'll be about getting it into the structure in time. Holding up some of the structure while looking at other pieces. We're trying to figure out what this picture looks like.
Dylan Dylan picking up a piece, rotating it, putting it back down, picking up another one, doing the same, rinse, repeat.
Now I'm about to say wiggle, wiggle.
Drew doing the same, but on the flat surface of the table.
Took him a few minutes just to get back to where he was before.
Flipping a piece around, this way, that way, upside down. All they know is that the puzzle is round.
And knocks over a few of his own pieces.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Dylan now shifting strategies, copying Drew a bit. There's a lot on this board. Feeling like she's making some progress.
Drew now moving around her table, realizing maybe she didn't have to reach her arms through the circular shelf and could just get much closer to the pieces that she's working on.
Image. Now it's working on putting it together, actually on the structure.
Let's take a look at Dylan's upright progress over here. A lot of quiet concentration from both players.
I'm trying a lot of pieces in a weird spot here. Try to figure something out.
Drew now
I believe earlier
maximizing her surface area space, using almost every square inch of this table to arrange her pieces.
Drew just not quite able to figure out what this is showing. Slowly, it's
Dylan trying to
together.
figure out
Definitely
maybe what a
more on
middle
this
piece
board
could
right now
potentially be.
the last time I did my rounds. We're just going by what's together, not whether it's in the board. I would say that they have each about 10 pieces put together. So it is neck and neck. The only difference is Dylan has his in the structure right now. Dylan just found something that worked. Drew starting to find how things are piecing together.
Dylan now separating
Dylan
some pieces
chaotic.
behind his upright puzzle structure.
Drew, peaceful movements.
Let's take a look at what those look
Very
like over
different
here
styles in this movie.
versus these pieces that he has on this side of his structure. Drew with something that looks pretty round in shape, which is a good sign because that is all they were told at the beginning of this puzzle.
Stumped by one spot on this board and can't really build upwards until they solve that spot.
Melissa says the wind is stressing me out.
It is windy. Might give Drew the advantage. Can solve it. Not worry about it being messed up. It doesn't have to be in your structure for me to award immunity. Ooh, just a couple pieces away now from having the entire structure solved. Dylan, 5 or 6 pieces away.
Dylan trying to work out this corner over here. Well, as cornery as a round circle can be.
Drew's going to start placing on the structure.
Drew has now started building upward.
Figured out. Let's see if they can get it set up correctly. Make sure it lines up.
Meanwhile, Dylan is now retrieving a piece that fell off the table and went onto the ground.
I would not call that correct right now.
Drew now trying to set what could potentially be the bottom row of this circle in her vertical puzzle.
After all that, Drew is placing it is pretty much at the exact same point Dylan is. As Dylan figured enough of it out to get across the finish line here. Dylan still can't figure out what goes in that bottom piece. Drew methodically placing piece by piece. Another piece falls on the outside. It is okay, according to them. One problem here is Drew having to reach over her structure for these pieces or just leave it completely unguarded to the wind to go pick them up. That's very delicate here as we're working with the top arc of the circle.
Drew now
Dylan looking
gathering
over,
her remaining
seeing
pieces
how
on
far
this side
behind
of the
he
board.
now is.
Oh my god.
Finally finding the piece. Well, that
Feeling
put
like
it
he has
together now.
something, then knocks it
Now it's an issue
down.
of speed. Who can get this together? Both have it 90% solved, but who can get it together and upright first? You're just two pieces away. Wind picks up. Check. 1, 2, 3. Drew wins immunity. Woo!
That was amazing. You did amazing.
Sorry.
You gave me a fright. All right, and we are now re-scrambling, resetting, because that was only one group doing that individual immunity challenge. Waiting in the wings, far away from the puzzle, are Alicia and Ale. They are the second group of competitors that have made it all the way to this portion of this individual immunity challenge. Now they will be building the same puzzle and trying to earn an immunity necklace as well.
All right, neither was able to see this puzzle. I wonder if they were able to glean anything by listening to me.
No.
Drivers ready? Go!
All right, Ale and Alicia have now started this puzzle.
On the line. A 1 in 8 shot at winning this game if you can solve this puzzle faster than the other. Ale seems baffled by the puzzle. Alicia laying things out. Starting to build vertically. Ale trying to lay them out on his table.
Two different strategies for these players here.
Ale can't get pieces to stay upright.
Alicia building vertically in her puzzle ring. Ale electing to use the flat surface of the table to try and put some pieces together.
No, boo.
Working on building other stuff on her table.
Ale jeering over here on this side.
A few things on his table that he feels looks like correct. correct, it will line up perfectly, Ale.
That is
You say so.
what the fuck?
Alicia has a bottom row in the structure. Ale had most of one, and then the wind gusts
Hopefully
through
they fell in order, so it's
and
not hard. Ale
puffs
can
and
keep
puffs and blows that puzzle
over
structure
at
down.
Alicia's puzzle.
Ale now resetting the progress that previously was made.
Some in front of the puzzle as well as some on the puzzle.
Ale talking through this puzzle to himself as Alicia is just quietly staring at these pieces.
Alicia, stoic. Ale, whatever the opposite of stoic is in this town.
Thanks, Dan.
Animated?
Yeah, animated.
Animated.
There we go. But both effectively at a similar spot.
Thanks, Dan.
Both strategies seem to be working. As we saw last time with the puzzle, Dylan was in a large lead in terms of building it. Drew methodically placed pieces together until she was able to come from behind and win. You're never out of this.
All right, both players now electing to use the front portions of their table to put some pieces together before continuing to build upright on this puzzle structure.
Alicia's starting to build of the semicircle structure now. It'll be about balancing a little bit of a physical challenge as well as a mental challenge to make sure this puzzle stays up.
Ale now rotating some pieces around on the table, trying to see what might fit together.
A lot together on the table.
Alicia continuing to build upright.
Has a lot together on this structure. Ale throwing a piece on the ground. It seems that
All of a
Alicia
sudden, some of
has a few
Alicia's
pieces
puzzle
dropped.
pieces tumble off.
Not only is that difficult, but when they don't necessarily fall into the exact position you had them, it can be difficult to find the ones that fit in.
The first thing Alicia said, I'll challenge.
Never heard a contestant tell me I'm right. Half this puzzle has been thrown aside.
Ale is now using the floor as a secondary shelf for some of the puzzle pieces.
Secondary shelf. I didn't know why. She seems to have three pieces she can't quite figure out.
Hey there, Alicia. I love you.
Alicia back to building this structure.
Ale now rotating his puzzle frame.
Getting a little bit more room on the table.
Getting a little surface area. Now back to one flat surface instead of two.
Trying to place as delicately as possible after having knocked it over.
Ala now
earlier.
flipping around several pieces, trying to determine
Alicia.
what might go where.
Looks like 6 pieces are not on the structure. Ale will have to pick up the speed or hope for a big gust of wind. Here's a big gust. Is it enough? Alicia doesn't seem concerned.
Alicia placing a final
1,
piece.
2, 3. Alicia has won individual immunity and a spot in our final 8. Gives it a little Michelle Fitzgerald kick to celebrate. Good try, Alex. The difficult puzzle.
All right, and we will head on over with host Cam so that the individual immunity necklace can be awarded.
I want you to the real ceremony. Unfortunately, we do only have one necklace, so you're going to have to figure out how to share. It's big enough. But can I have Alicia and Drew come up? Congratulations. You both have immunity this round and a spot in the final 8.
Over your butt.
One can take the axe into tribal. That's a good one. All right. As a reminder, we are going to have you strategize. You can strategize as an entire group of 10. We will go into tribal as an entire group of 10. However, when you vote, you are voting in your groups of 5. So the people that are tagged with orange can only vote for someone tagged in orange. Someone from that group is going home. Similarly, those that are untagged will only vote in their group of 5. Someone will be going home. If anyone has an advantage or an idol to play, it can be played across the group. Okay? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. If you have any other questions, just find me during that. Oh, yeah, Ty.
Which group is going first, or is it going to be like chat, then vote, read?
Exactly.
Okay.
Chat,
Wow.
vote, read.
All right, and viewers, you heard it here. I'm just going to quickly recap that in case you're trying to figure out what they mean by all that. So 2 groups just competed in that challenge. As we saw, both Alicia and Drew were awarded individual immunity. They are each one of 5 people in a subgroup. So basically, there will be 2 players voted out in this next tribal council. But only certain people will be eligible to vote for certain people. So I think that might have confused you more because that just confused me more as I was saying it. But hopefully you get it. So we will just have 1 full tribal council time and 1 tea time, but we will discuss everything that we heard at both mini tribals within the larger main tribal. So if I had to guess, we'll be back in about 30 to 40 minutes for this next double elimination. 2 more players will be voted out of this game and join the jury. So I will see you then, and I will hopefully have a lot of intel for you. So I'm very excited for the next time that we are together. All right, see you soon, everyone. Thanks for joining.